Hi, it's Christina Nichols with NicholsGPS. Welcome to this week's What's on the Whiteboard. I'm so glad that you're here. Today we are continuing the conversation that we've been having about the relationships that we have within our offices and within fundraising and how these roles work with each other and provide us the opportunity to be both a mirror and a window onto each other's work. So today we're going to take that conversation to the advancement services roles and to the role of prospect research. Sometimes these roles are housed together, sometimes they're not, and so this may or may not pertain to your organization, but I encourage you to listen up because I think at the end of the day, this relationship is so key to the other roles in the organization that what you're going to find is that this is really where some of the magic happens within a fundraising office. So advancement services, really, in a lot of traditional offices, this is where gift processing, data clarity, data cleanup, the housing of data, reporting, analyzing, creating the ability for people to project their results. All of that sits within advancement services often. And then prospect research, if it's not within advancement services, will often sit within your frontline fundraisers, that kind of, that role, that group, because the relationship between that prospect researcher and your frontline fundraisers is so important. So, but this is where this gets a little bit tricky because often the information that prospect researchers want and need is not inherently in the CRM that you're using. That's not information that's typically stored in there. And so we go and we start using these third-party vendors and trying to link data and compare data and what can we bring over into our CRM, what's clean, what's pure, what's allowed, what's not allowed. And so that's why this relationship is so important. We never want the ability to pull information from one place to another to reside with just one person unless your structure and the resources in your organization are limited. And so having just one person hold that knowledge in the prospect research point can be really dangerous. So not dangerous necessarily in like an evil sort of way, but that person's sick or goes on vacation, then what happens? So, and along the same lines, advancement services may come to rely upon that person to perform functions that they themselves can perform, such as looking for accurate phone numbers. This kind of goes back to when we were talking about frontline fundraisers and bringing back accurate information from your meetings and reporting that back to advancement services and also your prospect researcher. So, anytime an updated role within an organization, like a new job, a new phone number, that can provide a new wealth of information about what's happening with that prospect. So when we're talking about being a mirror and a window in advancement services and prospect research, let's remember, of course, we have a shared vision. This is core to all of these conversations that we're having about being a mirror and a window, but also think about where is it appropriate to store information and what information, wow, that's a squeaky marker today. What information do we need to have stored within our CRM and what is it appropriate to store in an offsite, whether it's an offsite database or thinking about just some sort of service as a software, sort of cloud-based system. So how do we look at these in our advancement services and prospect research roles? So on advancement services, remember, yes, your CRM is really important and you've done amazing things to make it the way it is, but it's not the end all be all, right? And so in the mirror part of this, remember, like there's a lot of other information that's out there that can serve your frontline fundraisers and help them to perform their jobs. On the window perspective, remember that the more that your prospect researcher and your frontline fundraisers can use, and even your annual giving office and donor relations staff can use, to best address your donors and prospects through the CRM, that would be ideal, right? So when your prospect researcher comes to you and says like, hey, I have this wealth of information sitting out there, can we bring it into our database and where would it be most appropriate to save it? That's a really cool conversation to have, but then you also need to think about how frequently are you cleaning that up and referencing it and making sure that it stays accurate and up to date. So then, on the other side of things, on the other side of the mirror and window, as a prospect researcher, think about for yourself, Is this information that is really critical that I have tied to the rest of the information in the CRM, or is there another way for me to access this information and get to the answer that I need? So that's number one. And then on the window side of things, remember that your advancement services team is serving so many different organizations and needs within your own office setting. And so what may serve you best in what you're doing may not serve the needs of the rest of the organization and may in fact hinder them. So think about how you're structuring the data that you're bringing into the CRM. But then also, I think holistically, if we think about how the exchange of information and data goes between these two roles, think about sharing that with your partners in donor relations and annual giving. That is such a cool opportunity for segmentation within annual giving and also stewardship within donor relations. So thanks so much for watching today. I hope all is well. Please remember to subscribe to the Nichols GPS email newsletter. It comes out monthly with interesting tidbits, and you can subscribe to that at NicholsGPS.com. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.